Afternoon, everyone. There we go. Firstly, thank you very much for staying. My name's Lucy, and my colleague Katie and I will just be talking about making a difference through highways. So just briefly, let's just talk about the MHA. It's a self-funded organisation. We're made up of about 36 local authorities. We have best practice networks and 2 frameworks which provide call-off routes for local authorities to procure construction or professional services through. We've got medium schemes, which is our construction framework, and we also have professional services for consultancies and for secondees or temporary staff recruitment. Our frameworks are in their 4th iteration, and the benefits of these frameworks are faster procurement routes due to, we've already done the due diligence, so all the hard work has been done during the tender process. We have collaborative working, and we encourage ECI on all of our projects. We have measurable outcomes with each project, which can also help determine value for money for our local authorities, which is a very big thing at the moment. But one of the things that we take pride in over at the MHA is our thematic groups. This is where our local authorities and our contractors come together to share best practice, but also allow innovation to take place within the MHA and improve our ways of working. Today, I'm mainly going to be focusing on our social value working group and how their work is making it possible for MHA projects to deliver collaborative and community-focused schemes. There we go. So although we've always had social value metrics within our frameworks, they've always differed between the two. But now the social value working group has actually standardised them, and we've created a portal alongside the Considerate Constructors scheme. And this now effectively measures like-for-like metrics, which again give our local authorities a clearer view on how their schemes are promoting social value within their communities. And this slide here literally just is the framework which supports our new metrics and our standardised metrics. But obviously, all that's very lovely, but how is that put into action and put into context? Well, one of the ways and one of the things that we basically require as part of being on our framework is our employment skills plan. As I said, it's a requirement for every project, and targets are agreed at the pre-construction stage. Performance is monitored through our KPI toolkit, or our metrics, which are gathered monthly, and we require contractors and our subcontractors to actually fulfil this plan. You'll see in the project that Katie's about to discuss that actually the on-the-job training, in-house skills, and sort of taking on apprenticeships and graduates, the project that we're talking about today actually did that. And there's a few graduates that are now actually working with our contractors. They've actually hired them from working on this project, which is fantastic to see. And now I'm going to hand over to Katie, who will actually talk you through the project. Oh, very briefly, because obviously you all want to get a bit of a rest before tonight. So yeah, if we just click to the next one as well, please. So what was the project that we did? So as you can see up there is an Amey project, a Taylor Woodrow and Wolverhampton Council project. And basically the aim was to create a safer, accessible, inclusive and attractive city centre, which we all want, right? So how were we going to do that? We looked at the realignment and reallocation of road space and changing the use of that space. So I was sitting here earlier and I was listening to Paula's presentation, and she was talking about her update, and on the bottom of the slides it talked about innovation, skills, decarb and collaboration, which is what we're all here to discuss. And this project summarises all of that really well. So from an innovation point of view, we implemented hostile vehicle mitigation, creating safe refuge for the users, and that basically segregated the traffic away. And that can be configured in multiple ways. That helps the use of the space for entertainment purposes or whatever kind of the local authority want to do. From a skills perspective, as Lucy's already touched on, we really embedded early career staff within the project. So from the all three parties, and we all worked really collaboratively together. Then from a decarb point of view, obviously we were moving traffic out of the city centre, so really helping to drive the net zero plan forward. And then as the theme of today is collaboration, that was the fundamental element of the city centre public realm project. And we did, as Lucy touched on, ECI throughout, an extensive ECI, where the teams made significant savings in the pavement construction. And overall, we saved over £5 million for the council, which enabled them to reinvest that into much needed, services and other areas for the council as well. So how did we make a difference, picking up on the topic of the presentation? So thankfully, as we always want to do, is we met all the objectives. It was safer, more accessible, much more attractive, and was highly commended actually by West Midlands Police and the community, which is fantastic news. We boosted the economy in terms of housing. 65 new units were being built kind of on the back of the project, and a further 400 have been approved, on the back of some of the marketing and stuff that the team have done. And then there's been also a 22% in vacancy reduction, which is really fantastic as we're moving through for positive local economic boost for Wolverhampton. And then in terms of active travel, we've already seen a 30% upturn in the footfall and 20% in cycling, which is fantastic alignment with the health and wellbeing priorities of the council. And then the team have also helped attract a further £16.5 million worth of funding, which we know is a really hard thing to do in this current market, don't we? So that's great, and we're progressing forward now. And then from a social value perspective, as Lucy said, we've always had KPIs, but in the iteration when this project originally started in 2019 and is kind of just coming to a conclusion, kind of the back end of last year, and we're going through the award season with it now. It wasn't strict, it wasn't stringent, but the collective team are really passionate about the local area. They live, work, travel, play within the area, so wanted to do more. So what did they do? They arranged themselves joint cost of living crisis volunteer sessions at food banks, and that in terms of giving up their own time and doing collections. They're out educating the next generation of our leaders going into Wolverhampton Council, doing cradle to grave presentations, really getting the insight of each kind of provider and what it is like to work in a project and giving every angle. And due to the success of that, we've actually been contacted, and the project team, by other local authorities and kind of other colleges within the region as well. And then we've done further significant community engagement as well, which is really great. And I guess you're listening to all this and think, oh yeah, that's good. And hopefully you'll agree it's a great project. And no doubt all of you have done similar things with your collective and cohesive teams. And I guess the call to action from me as part of this, and not one for now, so don't worry, but maybe later or tomorrow, is, how can we do more as an industry? We're really great from a health and safety perspective of sharing best practice, sharing ideas, but from a social value, kind of social innovation and initiatives perspective that really has an impact on the communities, how can we get better at sharing that? We've obviously got the challenges of, from a tender perspective, that's a marking criteria, but there must be more that we can do to get, the UK on a level playing field and reduce, deprivation. Thank you. Back to Lucy.
Brilliant. Sorry, just flicking through some photos from some of the work that was done actually on the project as well. This is the Good Shepherd, which is one of the projects the team supported. So just finally from me, from an MHA point of view, we have released our annual report for this year, 23-24. Our QR code is on the screen now. Thank you, Emily, for embedding this in the presentation. But if you would like a hard copy, please see myself or Karen, and we will present one to you. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening to us this afternoon. Thank you for staying. We know you're desperate to get back to the hotel. I will stop talking. Thank you.